crafty friends, it's Jess and I'm here with Mint Mondays with Jess Crafts, and I'm going to be sharing a card with the latest Piggy Party stamp set from Mint Owl Studio. This is part of the February release, which is now available in the shop, so if you're interested in the stamps or sequins I feature today, be sure to check the link in the video description below to head on over to the store. So as you can see, Piggy Party is a super cute stamp set with a lot of different adorable images and sayings. There's 3 different pigs and some really fun punny sentiments. I wanted to use the technique of ink smooshing to create little mud puddles for the pigs to be playing with. I have these stamp blocks from Apple Pie Memories, which have a fun shape to them, and I've used them for ink smooshing on a number of occasions because it creates a really fun little shape. And I've done it to sort of create flower shapes in the past, but I thought it'd be a fun little mud puddle too. And so I'm taking colors of Distress ink. In particular, I'm using Ground Espresso and Vintage Photo, and I am smooshing them, just kind of like pushing them onto the block, and then I'm spritzing on some water. You want to think about how much water you're adding because less water will give a more splotchy look and a lot of water will give a very sort of wet pooled look like I'm getting here where there's like more of a solid area. And so if you're looking for more of that splotchiness, you want less water. If you're looking for a more solid blended look, you'll want to add more water. And I'm kind of trying to go for something a little bit in between because I do want it to look like a mud puddle, so I don't want it to be super splotchy. But I wanted to also have some interest and some color to it. So what I found that I liked best was to take the dark color and do a light spritz so that it would be kind of that splotchy look, and then take the lighter color and make it a little bit more heavy so that way they could layer onto each other. However, in order to get better layering, what I recommend is drying in between because Distress ink is going to be continued to be activated by water. So if you want those splotches to remain, you're going to want to dry it before adding any more water on top of it. So you see I took those last 2 and I let them dry with the dark. Now I'm going back with the lighter, which in this case is Vintage Photo, and I'm adding a lot more water to sort of fill in that area. And if you don't get it the way that you like it, you can always continue to layer on more. And I don't need these images to be perfect. If it comes outside the lines a little bit as I sort of stamp them and continue to press the block in, that's perfectly okay because it is supposed to be a messy look. And once I have my 3 mud puddles created, and I chose 3 because generally things look good in groups of odds, I am going to move on to creating a little bit of a messy mud flicks around it, as if the pigs were rolling around in the mud and got mud everywhere. So I'm taking the same colors of Distress ink, spritzing on a lot of water, and flicking it with a paintbrush. Any paintbrush will do. You might want something that's a little bit more concentrated because if you use a really thick or wide brush, you could get really big droplets. So if that's what you're after, great. But if you're looking for more small droplets, then you're going to want a smaller brush. And I'm just working on a piece of grid paper here. I would recommend any sort of scrap paper underneath just so that it catches all the paint because I find that when I do like a flicking technique like this, it just gets absolutely everywhere. It's not so much a big deal with watercolor though because you can clean that up. I wanted to use this same ink smooshing to color the pigs. So rather than stamp the pigs and color them with markers or watercolor or anything like that, I thought I'll just smoosh a bunch of ink onto this watercolor paper, then stamp the pigs on top and fussy cut them out. I am using Tim Holtz watercolor paper here, so it's a really bright white. That matters more for my card base and less for this area because I'm really going to just kind of cover the whole surface with the ink. And I'm using 2 colors of Distress ink, again just for some variation and interest. I like that with the Distress ink palette you can get a lot of different colors in brown. Like there's many different browns or many different pinks, and they layer on so well and blend so well that you're really going to get some interesting colors as you mix them. And I'm just going to continue to add pink colors to the blocks. I believe I used picked raspberry and worn lipstick mostly. Worn lipstick is more of like an orangey pink, so it definitely contrasts well with the really bright, vibrant pink of the picked raspberry. And I just created 3 areas for the pigs because I knew I wanted to stamp at least 3 pigs. And I'm going to stamp them such that I have pigs that will be facing each other. So I have 1 pig who will be looking towards the left and 2 looking towards the right. Basically, as it goes down my card, I want the pigs to kind of be looking at each other, because when you look at an image, you tend to follow the eyes of whatever's in the image, and so if they bounce back and forth across the card, it will add more interest to the card. So I'm going to fussy cut out the pigs. I left a little border around them because cutting off their tails would be quite tricky. And then I wanted to have a coordinating piece of pink paper as a mat around those little mud puddles. And so I just took one of the Distress pink inks that I used and smushed it all around the edge. And there's no water added to that, it's just rubbed into the edge. And it basically dries to look like a piece of pink cardstock out of your stash, but rather than go hunting for a piece that matches, you just make your own piece. And then I am stamping the Missing You Pig Time stamp. I really love the punny sentiment stamps from Mint Owl Studio. And I'm going to layer that mud puddle background onto the pink paper and then add my little pigs with some really thin foam tape. I'm sort of gathering the pigs close together. I don't want the 2 pigs that are the same to look like they're stacked right above each other. I want them to sort of, your eye to bounce around a little bit more, and so that's why I made sure one was a little bit further away and a little farther back. You just want to think about ways to add interest, and you also want to think about visual triangles, because things tend to look better in odds. 3s particularly work well, and so I have the 3 mud puddles and the 3 pigs, and they're in a triangular formation rather than I didn't want them to look too perfectly lined up or anything like that, as that's a lot harder to do and more precise, and I really just wanted to have more fun with it. Then I'm taking the Hearts and Kisses sequin mix from Mint Owl Studio, which is fantastic because not only does it have several colors of pink plain sequins, it has several colors of red and pink hearts. And I'm taking those and just sort of scattering them everywhere. I thought that fit in well with the missing you sentiment there. And so I'm adding just 3 hearts, again adhering to that, idea of 3 and creating a little visual triangle with them if you look where the 3 hearts are. And then just adding a few more of those other pink sequins in there to sort of fill out the card a little bit and bring some of that pink back in and make it nice and bright and fun. And I'll glue that down with multimedia matte. And once I have that finished, my card is done for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in more crafting tutorials from Mint Owl Studio, be sure to hit the red subscribe button down below. And also check us out on social media. There's a Facebook page, there's regular blog posts to see some inspiring things. And feel free to leave in the comments below some of the techniques you'd like to see here on the channel, as I'll be bringing videos almost every Monday. Thanks for watching. Bye.